y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story I want to share with you that I found on SBS Arabic 24. And it was a podcast. You can also listen to it. But it was an interesting story about a different way for you to store or invest your money. And it's in gold jewelry. So if you have been keeping up with the price of gold since last year, it's gone up quite a bit. And it's been artificially deflated, or I guess you could say that, the price has been kept down in part because our country doesn't have its money backed by gold. So of course they got to make the gold less valuable. But as soon as this economy turns, the dollar is of no value. Everybody else's money is now going to be backed by gold. So gold is going to be the ticket. Gold is going to be a sure investment for the short and long term. Um, it's a great way to store your wealth. But the tricky thing is, you can't buy a whole lot of it if you have money because they'll require you to turn it back in. And of course, with digital money, they'll be able to tell who bought what from where. And so they can come and collect your stuff. And if they, want to, they don't want you to have any wealth, because that is usually what happens when you shift to a totalitarian state. They don't want you to have anything. And so in a lot of countries, people have experienced having their valuables collected or having to turn them in or taken, um, because, that's just something that the government required. But a lot of people had jewelry, and you could keep a certain amount of jewelry and you could wear it. You could cross borders with it. You could trade it. You could cash it in. And that's a form of wealth. You can go back through the Great Depression, even during the Holocaust, and all throughout history when there were great wars. The first thing the governments want to do is come and collect things of value from the homes of the citizens, and trust me, they know everything everybody got. So I won't say they know everything, but if you have a lot of wealth, if you make a large withdrawal and you get a safe deposit box, oh well, they know that you have that because it has to be recorded. They know what's in the safe deposit box. And I know hopefully you've been seeing where the government has been going around the country and raiding safe deposit boxes, and with no, well, I'm going to say with no, the rationale is they're attacking money launderers. But, anybody who has anything stored at these safe deposit boxes or these safe deposit entities, their stuff is confiscated and they can't get it back. And so then there goes your wealth. So you have to be really, tricky and thoughtful during times like these, and not have a whole bunch of stuff that can be confiscated, not have a whole bunch of stuff that, you got to keep on your person because you don't want it to be taken or confiscated or stolen. So, it's wise to diversify your wealth if you have any thing that you want to buy besides gold bars and gold coins. You might want to consider buying gold jewelry. And so this article was talking about gold jewelry and how Arab women use it as a way to preserve wealth and have a safety net in the event, because in those countries, um, women often aren't allowed to work, or if they're allowed to work, their husbands control the wealth. And so a lot of times the women don't have wealth. In a lot of these countries, the women don't have any wealth. They marry into a family, and the husband takes care of the family. And so if they need to leave because of violence or whatever, they don't have a way to escape because they don't have any money. So they grow up learning to invest their money in jewelry. It's a safe way. You don't have to worry about it being confiscated because it's a peer-to-peer transaction. You give money, you get a piece of jewelry. There's no record of it. You take it home, you wear it, you put it away, and store it. And then if you need it, you can sell it. You can pawn it, liquidate it, whatever you're gonna do to it, and you have a means to provide for yourself. So that's what this story is going to be about. So let's get into it. So this came out on June 27th, 2023. Excuse me for clearing my throat. So it says Arab Australian women continue to invest in gold jewelry in the belief that it is a safer alternative to cash savings. And keep in mind, historically, a lot of these countries are much older than we are. So they have some knowledge that we don't have because, America is fairly a new country and the West is, kind of a new concept, so to speak. Not all of it, but, this whole Eurozone and all these different things. Like, one thing about white people is they like to rewrite history and change names, and then it's not just them, but you know, people who war and conquer are always changing things and erasing history and hiding stuff. So it's difficult for us to learn or keep up with what has happened throughout history, especially where war is concerned. And this is, ties into what happens when you have been conquered or you've been a conqueror in war. And so I considered that when I looked at this story, that this is an Arab woman. If you know the history of that region, biblically, um, about those folks. I'll just say that. And they know some stuff. So I just figured it would be wise for us to listen to this story and take heed, because we are coming upon a situation where we could be put in the same situation. So it'd be wise for us to do what other people have done to preserve wealth, hide wealth, or maintain wealth so that when you need to trade or whatever, you have something of value, even if you got to trade it in somebody else's money to do stuff. We got to be forward thinking at this point, until we leave this place. So it says, key points. Arab Australian women are turning to gold as a safer way to invest spare funds. Gold jewelry is a traditional way to save money in the Middle East, which is Africa. So we can say gold jewelry is a way to save money in Africa. All right. Some women say cost of living pressures are curtailing their ability to buy gold. SBS Arabic 24 spoke to several women and a jeweler who claim Arab Australian women are seeking out pure gold jewelry as a safer way to invest spare funds. Most, if not all, women in Egypt keep their savings in the form of gold jewelry, said Teresa Magdi, a 34-year-old Egyptian immigrant who now calls Sydney home. This is what we were taught as we grew up. Now, see, nobody teaches us this kind of stuff. We are told to go buy a house. We're told to buy. Not, and I'm not saying anything about house or real estate, land. That those things can retain value. Land will, but a house may or may not, because it always depends on your neighbors and the tax assessor, so on and so forth. But and even how it's assessed when you get ready to sell it. Somebody can come in and assess it undervalue, and you not get all that it's worth because you're dealing with a racist person who don't want us to have any money. But when it comes to stuff like this, there's a set price for gold per ounce, and you know what it is. If you got pure gold, you just, there's no cheating you unless they cheat you, unless you don't know what it is that you have and you don't have any certificate or anything to authenticate what it is that you purchased, which if you're going to buy gold to have for this purpose, I would say you should invest in something that you can get a certificate or something for that verifies its value and that it's pure. But our people, we don't get these types of lessons. You never hear our people say, oh yeah, you should buy gold, you should buy silver, and get a lot of it and store it and keep it and la la la. I don't know a whole lot of people um, that do that. I have a girlfriend in Florida. Um, she did it, and I used to be like, wow, she's really smart. I don't know how she learned it or where she learned it, but she's just really, really smart when it came to things to invest in, and she didn't mind doing it because she was looking out for her children in the future. So just thinking about our people, like people in the South, we just didn't have much, and our parents, they were just happy to get a house and a car. And so they told you to do the same thing: go get a job, get a house, get a car. But they never really talked to us about land, and especially if you grew up in the city. But now I live in a rural area, and that's something that Black people do. They get acres of land, and for the purposes of um, growing your own food, being self-sufficient, passing it down to your children. So, um, you know, we just are really behind the power curve when it comes to understanding wealth in America, depending on where you came from and, the background of your parents. So, as we go through what we're going through, we're going to have to a lot of us are behind the power curve, but it doesn't, we can't worry about that now. There are a lot of different reasons we're behind the power curve. Let us do what we can to try to navigate what's coming. Because, of course, they don't want us to have any wealth. They don't want us to do anything. They want us to perish. And so the thing that we're not going to do on this channel is perish. And so I'm going to bring you all the information I can and pep talks and ideas so that we can try to navigate this thing together. So it says gold jewelry has always been an essential part of Arab culture and a source of pride and prestige for lots of women. More often than not, the precious metal is gifted for special occasions, particularly marriage. But in Arab culture, gold jewelry is not only about adornment, it definitely gives women financial security. And so here it is. It says a gold jewelry on display at the Gold Souk in Kuwait City, Kuwait. And so they have all sorts of beautiful gold jewelry. And I was talking to somebody. Oh, I can't remember where I was, but this guy was telling me it was recent. Um, I can't remember where I was, but anyway, he was talking about the jewelry that the Arabs have. He said it's just he said it's not like our jewelry here. He said it's so shiny and bright and just different, and it's because it's pure gold, and they just wear it. They just have a different style. They don't wear their jewelry the way that we wear our jewelry. It's decorated for their culture and made for their culture. We don't have that type of thing here because a lot of times our cultures have been disrupted or we've been kept from it, so we don't get the beautiful pieces, and we just get chain stores. If you don't go out of the country and buy your jewelry pure, unless you go someplace where they sell authentic stuff or go to different communities, it's really hard for us to get good, pretty, fine jewelry that you can use as adornments and as a storage of wealth. But it doesn't mean we can't. You just got to get outside of your community and look, or go online and search, and then go and make the purchases. So it says, it definitely gives women financial security, said Ms. Magdy. Given its high monetary value and the relative stability of its price, gold is seen by lots of Arab women as a safe bet for saving and investing. Gold is a kind of insurance policy. Marie Claire Baker, an ethnographer with a special interest in the material culture of the Middle East, and Kara McKeown, a senior instructor in art history at Zayed University in the United Arab Emirates, described gold jewelry as an insurance policy. Ms. Baker is one of the authors of the chapter From Cradle to Grave, A Life Story in Jewelry. In the book, All Things Arabia, that describes the significance of the social role played by jewelry in Arab life. Gold is relatively safe from depreciation, and in the form of jewelry, it is both accessible and transportable by the woman herself, they wrote in the book published in 2020. A lack of economic certainty and currency devaluation in lots of countries in the Middle East has prompted women to place more value on their gold jewelry than on their money. I've seen people back in Egypt withdraw their money from banks to buy gold, Miss Magdy said. I'm sorry, added Miss Magdy. But do Arab women continue to save in gold after moving to Australia? It seems that there is a wide range of options. Ms. Magdy, a mother of one, says she was a bit skeptical about the quality of gold jewelry in Australia. And you see how when you're used to getting real pure gold, and the purpose is, and you're living in a wealthy place, when you go to Western nations, they can immediately tell our gold ain't the same. And so, it's a little difficult again to find that pure gold that looks different. Like the guy was telling me, he was like, their gold is so different. He was like, the stuff they be wearing, it be pure, it's shiny, it's pretty. You don't hardly see that here. Even if, in ultra rich circles, you see, people, they don't necessarily flash their gold either, but you just really don't see people having that shiny, pure gold. It doesn't seem to carry much value like that we used to buy back in Egypt, she said. It's not as nice, and it's so lightweight. An easy asset to own. Asked why Arab women preferred gold to other forms of investment, Ms. Magdi said it was an easy asset to own. How would some women understand how shares and other forms of investment work, she wondered. She said that monetizing gold was straightforward and feasible for women. Women invest in what's within their grasp. Gold jewelry can be kept at home, and it can be easily sold if need arises. Teresa Magdi said that. It also gives women a level of financial independence. According to Ms. Baker and Ms. McOwen, gold jewelry gives women autonomy by acting as a cushion against potential divorce or abandonment. Every mother will make sure that her daughter is well provisioned with sufficient gold jewelry to ensure her financial security, they wrote. Cost of living pressures mean less spare cash. Some women who spoke to SBS Arabic 24 said they didn't have extra cash to buy gold jewelry with, especially amid the current inflationary climate. In Arab countries, middle class women are more capable of saving than us, said Iman Muhammad, a Lebanese immigrant. I hardly save, and when I do, I don't use my savings to buy gold jewelry, Iman Muhammad said that. Ms. Muhammad blamed her inability to save on the high cost of living. I live in Sydney. That's why I don't save, she said. Ms. Magdi also said she thought cost of living pressures made it difficult for Arab women in Australia to maintain their traditional saving strategies. The cost of living here in Australia is quite high compared to back in Egypt, especially if the family has to pay a mortgage or send their kids to private schools, she said. Saving here to buy gold is a luxury that lots of people can't afford. She said if she was able to save some cash, she would not buy gold jewelry. I'll buy gold liras, gold coins instead. It's a better investment, she said. Despite the economic crunch that rendered lots of families struggling to secure their everyday essentials, Amir Akam, owner of Khalij Jewelry, said his business was booming. Jewelry business is booming. Lots of people are putting their money in gold because of and not despite inflation, Mr. Akam said. Some customers come to my shop every week or two to buy a piece of jewelry. But Mr. Akam said the people's taste differed based on the purpose of the purchase as well as their cultural backgrounds. Arab women look for pieces that have much more pure gold. They like yellow gold, explained Mr. Akam, who said that 80% of the customers of his Coburg based business were Arabs. Western women don't or tend to wear that. They say it's too yellow for them. And you see how we've been conditioned to not like pure things. I mean, everything that the West does teaches you to not value the things that you should value and to um just be backwards. I guess that's the best way to say it. Like everything we do is backwards. They know the value. The people who set up these rules and create these mindsets that they teach us in school and culture throughout society, they know what's valuable and what's not valuable. And they teach us to not value the things that are worth something. The true things, the real things, pure things. Traditionally, people tend to rush into buying gold when they were concerned about the other assets or the broader economy. And the current inflation hikes have evaluated those worries, he said. According to Mr. Akam, this is a smart choice. In the last year alone, the price of gold has increased by 15%. How much interest do banks give their customers? Rana Bahous, a Syrian immigrant, says she and her friends regarded gold as a safe investment. Gold is safer than shares, she said, and I agree with that because, if you're going to buy some shares, you basically living by the sword and dying by the sword. Somebody can say something, your stocks are devalued. People can do something at a company and shares can tank, or like Elon Musk, he'll be talking about something and the price will go up of the share, or he'll say something and the price will tank, and then somebody rich will go swoop in and buy all the shares because people will be selling off. And so it's like putting your money in the slot machine. To me, it's a legal way to gamble. I don't like that. So I would much rather, if I had some money to invest and had a place to store my little wealth, I would probably prefer jewelry as well. And so it really gave me an idea as a woman to try to have a few little pieces of something, because I'm sure once these economies collapse, if we're still here and we have to navigate this thing, like gold is going to be valuable, and there's not going to be a whole lot of it around because people who have money are buying it up now, and they're not going to be mining much here. And things are just going to be so different. So if you have money to go out and buy pure gold, buy pure yellow gold. Don't buy no other kind. Buy the kind that they had on in the pyramids. Buy real gold, because the rich people are going to use the real gold, the real pure yellow gold, the rich people. So it says, I have a friend who buys gold liras one by one, then she swaps them for gold bullion, gold bars or ingots. This would be her personal savings. Nobody knows what the future holds. And then it says, please note that this article has been prepared for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide, I guess that is saying provide, I can't see what it says. Provide investment advice, or it should not be relied on for investment advice. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to say the same thing. This is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to provide or should be relied on investment advice, because I'm not an investment person. But again, when we're talking about strategies to preserve what little few pennies we do have, or you're looking for ways to avoid having your stuff confiscated, even if you have to take it and split it up and put it in different places or give it to your mama, your grandmama, whatever, you just stick it in the floor and whatever, folks used to do back in the day. We may have to resort to doing that again. It's a good way to be safe and have something to take care of yourself should you need to. Um, Again, it's transportable. You can put it on, you can wear it. Nobody knows that it's your storage of wealth. Although when things get bad, I don't recommend walking around with it on. And you can, fly under the radar. That's the best way I can say it. At this point, we all should be trying to fly under the radar. It's not about flash. It's not about bragging. It's about being safe, and especially if you are a man and you are in charge of wealth for your family, or you in charge of making sure your family is okay, and you do have storage of wealth, buy some women's jewelry. Women, you could do the same thing, but I mean, for men, I know men tend to have the bigger incomes, have worked longer, have larger pensions, um, 401ks, IRAs, CDs, so on and so forth. When things get bad, those things may or may not be there. But if you can, buy jewelry, even if it's women's jewelry, you don't have to give it to nobody, but you can have it. And you can have a sister or relative, go someplace with you and escort it and exchange it. But even men's jewelry, uh, watches, earrings, rings, necklaces, pendants. Be creative, people. There's a lot of opportunities out there, but take the advice of the people who have ancient history doing this type of thing. And remember, America's a fairly new country. Um, we don't have no culture. This culture is do as you will. Steal everybody else's culture and call it yours. And the bad stuff, not necessarily all the good stuff. So let's think about this piece and consider diversifying your options. Buying gold jewelry as the price of gold increases and as they expect it to go through the roof once the global economy crashes, because everybody else's stuff is going to be backed by gold. So gold is going to be the ticket once again. All right, y'all, this is Marla K. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so that you can be notified anytime I upload new content. Check the description because I have links to my social media platforms as well as to Rumble and Odyssey in the event that this channel goes down. Continue to pray, continue to prep, continue to seek the Most High in all your dealings on how to navigate these treacherous, wicked times. And don't forget to repent from your sins or for your sins. Sins of commission and sins of omission. We are in a spiritual battle, and a lot of us are being attacked. So understand, a lot of us are awakened, and we are chosen to be awakened in this hour. So continue to repent, keep your spirits right, so that we can learn how to navigate these crazy times, and we can hear the Most High when He's giving us direction and wisdom so that we can stay safe. All right, y'all. Love y'all. This is Marla K, and I am out of here.